This is Hinos Sport bringing you that heat and that fire. We keeping a foot on the what? On the next. We keeping a foot on the what? On the next. Now let's talk about it. The Jacob Blake and the Kyle Rittenhouse, the terrorist shooting. We have to talk about this. So we got to get to it in this cold-hearted, unadulterated, and must cutthroat variation fashion. The NBA shouldn't have continued on. Milwaukee Bucks, salute to y'all for boycotting the game. But the bottom line is this. The season shouldn't have continued. This NBA restart, this fraudulent, fluky, on-the-spot NBA title, this least path of resistance title so that LeBron James could win an NBA title, it shouldn't have started. There's too much going on. There's too much real-life issues that's affected here. COVID-19, BLM, now Jacob Blake. Come on, y'all. Come on. See, this is the stuff that Enos Sport was talking about. Things that make you say, Things that make you say, This is a bad light on the NBA. Sports in general is affected and impacted by this. But the thing is people don't understand. Tough times calls for tough measures. Let me say it again. Tough times calls for tough measures. I remember Thanos said this in the Infinity War. He said, those who make the hardest decisions are those that have the greatest wills. Let me say it again. Those who make the hardest decisions are those with the greatest will. In this instance, the hardest and the right decision would have been to shut down the NBA season. There's too much going on right now. Too many people are being impacted. For goodness sakes, people have to walk around with a mask on that basically impacts your way to breathe. I had to do this earlier today because I had to travel. And it was annoying as fuck, but I did it because I had to comply, just like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Because rules and regulations are out there. We're going to comply to the rules and the regs. But it was annoying as hell to be restricted that way. This is what the world has become. Because we're dealing with so many underlying issues that's going on right now. We're dealing with a virus that's terrorizing folks left and right. We're dealing with, Black Lives Matter. And I'm not talking about Black Lives Matter, the movement. That's bullshit. I'm talking about Black Lives Matter, the ideal behind it. I'm not talking about, again, Black Lives Matter, the movement. I'm talking about Black Lives Matter, the ideal that's behind that. Look what just happened. God don't like ugly, y'all. Let me say it again. God does not like ugly. And that's what happened. God had to slap people back in the face and slap them back into reality and say, look, it's deeper than what you guys think. 2020 has been a year that has seen adversity on top of adversity on top of adversity. Trials on top of trials on top of trials. Tribulations on top of tribulations on top of tribulations. Peaks on top of peaks on top of peaks. Valleys on top of valleys on top of valleys. Ebbs on top of ebbs on top of ebbs. Flows on top of flows on top of flows. This is the type of year that it's going to be. It's going to be a year that's going to test everyone's resolve. And when I'm talking about everyone, I'm talking about all of the damn close to 9 billion people on this planet's resolve. Because it's just that year. It's the year of purge. God is doing some things up there. We can't understand what he's doing. And we just have to sit down, pay attention, and listen. Let me say it again. We're going to have to sit down, pay attention, and listen. This is why Hidos Sport was speaking ardently or arduously against the NBA season. Let me say it again. This is why Hinos Sport spoke ardently or arduously against the NBA season. Because of things like this. All of these big issues that are going on. Hot, button, thumbnail issues that's going on. But folks are focused on mundane things like basketball. And I get it. People need some stuff to give them a sense of getting away from reality. But this is the kind of year where these things just keep compounding. They keep manifesting themselves exponentially. They keep growing. They keep multiplying. And things just keep happening at such an exponential rate that it's affecting everyone that's involved with it. This is the year of what I would call the year of purge. Because there's a lot of things that needs to be purged out here in what we call the streets of life. That means everything. There's been too much nonsense, too much foolery, too much ridiculous stuff that's going on. And look at what just happened. I was on the plane when all of this stuff was popping off. And when I finally caught the news of it, I was just like, whoa. You see, He Knows the Sport was trying to tell you guys from the jump, man. They shouldn't have started this NBA season. Sports as a whole should have been halted. And I know that's not a popular thing to say to people. And I know it's not something that people will want to hear because people just need that pastime. But this year's a trying year. There's trying things that are going on right now. So when you have a trying year with trying things that are happening, then you have to weather the storm. And weathering the storm means you have to go through it. Because if you don't go through it, then you're going to be forced to go through it. Let me say it again. If you don't go through it, you're going to be forced to go through it. And that's what's happening. People are being forced to go through this even when they thought they could just continue to move on. Nah, this is a year where things have to happen the way that they're happening. I don't understand why it's happening that way. You guys don't understand why it's happening that way, but it has to happen the way that it's happening. And all we have to do is be bystanders and sit here and just be watchers of the situation that's happening. And it's either going to pass you by or it's going to affect you. Let me say it again. It's going to pass you by or it's going to affect you. I didn't understand why the NBA came back. I just didn't get it. And all of this stuff about we're going to protest on Jacob Blake. We're going to stop, basketball. We're just not going to play. Adrian Rittenhouse coming out saying that the NBA season may potentially be in jeopardy. Sports in general may potentially be in jeopardy. We've heard this story before. See, it's one thing to hear when people are saying something. It's another thing when it actually happens. So if you say it again, it's one thing to hear when people are saying something. It's another thing when it actually happens. So this is one of those things where you have to sit back and say things that make you say, Things that make you say, This is the year that we're in, y'all. 2020 is a year of purge. And things have to be purged. Whether if it's good, bad, or the ugly, this is how it's just going to have to be. And we're going to have to roll with the punches. That's the cold-hearted. That's the unadulterated. And that's the cutthroat truth teller fashion. This is He Knows the Sport. Checking out.